Welcome back to Outdoors with Larry Ray on 790 The Bet. Brought to you proudly by the Tennessee Wildlife Resources Agency and Wally Hatchett's Comfort Food and Drinks at 6439 Summer Avenue.
Good morning, everybody. Once again, it is Outdoors with Larry Ray, the award-winning Outdoors with Larry Ray show. All things you'd want to know in the Mid-South about fishing, hunting, hiking, bird watching, just about anything you can hear about it on Outdoors with Larry Ray. Unfortunately, you won't get Larry Ray today on Outdoors with Larry Ray. Larry's a little bit under the weather. This is Frank Barton. I'm one of the co-hosts that come in on time from time to time to help out. And with me in the studio is Ron Wong. Ron, good morning again.
Good morning. How are you, Bill? We're having a great time this morning.
It is a great time. So it is hunting season in the Mid-South, and more importantly to most of us, it is duck hunting season in the Mid-South. And we have two individuals with us that know a little bit about duck hunting. First is we got Bill Cooksey, who's been on here from time to time. Good morning, Bill.
Morning, Frank, Ron, and everyone listening. And I think I know less every year about duck hunting.
Well,
I don't believe that.
You might know less, but if you hang around this next person, I'm sure you can pick up on a few things. Also with us this morning is Seth Fields, who just happens to be the 2022 World Duck Calling Champion from Stuttgart. Good morning, Seth.
Good morning, Mr. Frank and Mr. Ron. Hello, Mr. Bill.
Hey, Seth.
You know, I did not get to Stuttgart for the Wings Over the Prairie Festival, but I watched it on Facebook, and I listened to Seth, and because Bill knows more about this duck calling stuff than I do. I could tell Seth was a good caller, but Bill is a judge. So, Bill, what are things like that Seth does that sets him apart from everyone else?
And unlike you, I didn't get to listen this year. I was out of town on work, and I didn't get to listen to contests. But I did last year judge the World, and Seth was in it. We got to spend a good bit of time together in Stuttgart that weekend. And, you know, consistency is a huge thing from round to round and note to note. He doesn't put questions in a judge's mind. You never want a judge to think, okay, what was that? I mean, he's right out front with what he's doing and consistent all the way through the routines. Or at least that's how I would characterize it. How about you, Seth? You hear about it all the time now.
Yes, sir. Well, it's something that has definitely just devoured my mind and thought process as far as how other people listen to the Main Street routine and what they like about it. But I guess what I would say as far as what I try to do is kind of what Bill said, be consistent, but, you know, just really show the power, the finesse, all of it, and just kind of weave it together with just a smooth flow to where it's just, like Bill said, a judge doesn't raise his ear and say, what was that? You know, it's just got to be smooth from whether you're being really loud and powerful and holding stuff out or you're bringing it down and doing some finesse, you know, real duck-type stuff on the bottom whenever you're doing your feed and cutting and stuff in between transitions.
Bill talked about the routine, and to our listeners that aren't familiar with what happens in the duck calling contest, Seth, can you explain about how long the routine goes and what you need to accomplish in that routine?
Yes, sir. So basically, very shortly, you have a minute and 30 seconds, so 90 seconds total to blow your whole routine. Your routine will consist of ducks being at a distance. So you start off with your hail calls. As you get them closer, you go into what we call ducks or, you know, your greeting calls, and then a feeding call. And then you're going to pretend as if, you know, the wind blew your birds downwind or someone shot and it's kind of scared the birds. So you get back on top and do what we call a step up. And then you do a triple. So you're holding them hails, trying to break them ducks and pull them back to you. You get them down, hit them with those greeters or those ducks, do a feed call, and, finish out until closeout, to where it's basically a lonesome hen, which is 3 quacks and a cadence of a mallard hen. And that's 90 seconds. And when 80 seconds gets there, you have a red light that pops in your face and says, "Hey, you have 10 seconds left. You've got to get this done, or you're going to be disqualified."
Seth, I'm going to address a pet peeve, and I bet it's one of yours too. Most folks who just happen to listen to a contest who haven't been into it before just hear the hail calls, and all they say is, "Oh, that's not duck calling. That is worthless. That's this. That's that." And I would encourage people to actually listen to an entire routine and think about it, because every note, including a hail call, when used appropriately, is effective in a duck blind. What's different is you have to do them all in 90 seconds.
For sure. And the thing that I just said with someone the other day, even if you don't use a hail call in the way that we do, you may just go, pop, 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 pop. You're just holding that note, but hitting it consistent instead of holding it out like some of us do. But if you can drive a race car 220 miles an hour, you ought to be able to drive that car just fine at 20 miles an hour. So if you can control that duck call as loud and powerful as you can for 1 minute and 30 seconds, then, calling easy and sounding like ducks should be a breeze, But that was just kind of one of my takes on it.
Yeah.
So I take it when you're actually hunting, your call's a little bit different than what you'll be doing in competition.
Oh, very much, very much, very much. I don't have the call that I have doesn't ring like that I hunt with. It doesn't get the really loud wah, that real loud hail call that you'll hear us that Bill's talking about, that we're famous for on Main Street calling. But the call is still loud, and I do everything else, and some things more that we don't do during Main Street calling that would be more geared towards meat or live duck calling, but that's a different story for a different day.
So your other competitors that are out there, what are y'all doing when your brother and competitor is out there blowing the call? What are y'all doing back there?
Well, everybody's different. Some people, that stage itself will put a lot of stress on you and anxiety, and and everybody reacts to that different. Some people just sit back there and just kind of stare at the wall. Some people, are up talking to, meeting new people. Personally, I have several friends, and, I want everybody to do their best when we get up there. And, I'm excited to hear people always come to me and say, "What'd you think? What'd you think about that round?" Whenever they step off the stage, they come around there and I've got, 4 or 5 real good friends, Dan Getz and Hayden Richard, my little brother, so if I can, and it's not right before I go, I'm listening, and I'll let somebody know, "Man, that was great," encourage them and, try to get them to not be so hard on themselves and get down and psych themselves out. Because at the end of the day, whenever you step up there and you hoist that trophy, you want to know that everybody did their very best and you earned it, So at least in my mind.
Okay. Now, the next question I got is the morning after the event, the morning after you won, did you go duck hunting?
Yes, sir. I did not go duck hunting. What I did do is not sleep, not even maybe 10 minutes the whole night. I laid in my bed, came back and celebrated at the hotel with my wife, and she slept. And my son, he's 13 months old, he slept, and I just laid there and stayed awake all night. Drank a lot of coffee that next morning, and we actually, my sister lives in Lonoke, Arkansas, which is about 40 minutes. So we ran over by Max there in Stuttgart and picked up a few things, and then went and had Thanksgiving dinner with my family the next morning.
I asked that question because I can remember what I saw last year with last year's champion.
Mm-hmm.
Not only did they go duck hunting, but they took the trophy with them.
That's right.
Sure.
Hayden sure did.
Hayden sure did, and I can't. Hayden's one of my best friends. Me and him talk. We were just talking before we got on this call, but Hayden is from Louisiana. He's from Erath, Louisiana, and sometimes Hayden doesn't make always the smartest decision, but that's neither here nor there. If he wants to take his trophy in the woods where there's water and risk falling, and that's fine. But I cherish that thing next to my salvation with Christ and the love I have for my wife and son and my family. That is something that I will highly, highly cherish and hold on to for many years to come.
Seth, how long have you been doing this? When did you get the bug? And real quick, take people through kind of what it's like to try to get to this point.
Just try to sum it up. 2014 was my very first contest. My dad asked me to start doing it probably 2008 or 9. He said I should get into it because in my hometown, Mike McLemore lived there, maybe 10 minutes from my house, and my dad grew up hunting with Mike and Hunter, his son, Huntington, Tennessee. That's where I grew up, and so basically he's like, you should do it, and I was like, no, I just want to play football, baseball, and duck hunt. I said I'm good enough to duck hunt, and so Mr. Mike passed, and Dad said there's a calling contest about 45 minutes from here. He said if you'll get ready. And if you'll get ready this evening and practice, he said, I'll take you down there and I'll pay for your entry fee. So I went to Jackson, and it was a live duck calling contest and a meat calling contest. And the meat calling contest I won, and then I got second in the live duck to Kent Cullum, which had already won the world live duck calling contest 3 times. And I think I won right at $1,000 that day. And I said, man, this is awesome. I got to keep doing this. And everybody was so nice, and so I got the bug that year, starting with that, and I just wanted to jump into every kind of it, and I qualified for Main Street that next year, and 2015 was my first year doing the Main Street calling, and I've qualified each year since, had a few top 10 finishes, had a few not top 10 finishes, and this year I was able to put 3 together and blow them clean and do what I knew that I could do. I just had to prove it.
Well,
that's
everybody else.
You haven't been doing it that long, and I'm sure we're going to see you doing it some more. Seth, we got to go for our next break, and we appreciate you being here. Bill, don't you go anywhere, because I know you're going to be introducing our next guest, who is a mystery guest, is how we've got it. So, Seth, we appreciate you being on this, and congratulations on your championship.
And Merry Christmas.
And Merry Christmas. Let's take a break and come right back with Bill Cooksey on Outdoors with Larry Ray.